Welcome, everybody, to Soul Science by Dr. Liz Lehman and Jacqueline Kane, your no BS dose of mind-body healing, health, and wellness. And today I'm excited to bring my friend Debbra Lupien and have a great conversation about amazing things that are coming for us. And she's going to explain a lot of things about energy, parts of ourselves that many of us really aren't in touch with. So welcome, Debbra.
Hi, thanks for having me.
And first, let me explain a little bit about who Debbra is. She's a spiritual teacher, author, and voice of the Akashic Records. Her soon-to-be released book, The Path to Hearing Angels and Guides, is the definitive answer to tapping into intuition as you flow into a two-way dialogue with your own angels and guides. Her previous book, international best-selling Akasha Unleashed, The Missing Manual to You, is available on Amazon. You can connect with Debbra through her website, akashaunleashed.com, and YouTube, where she shares channel teachings and inspirational messages to support the light workers of the world as they facilitate the next evolution of humanity, fulfilling the prophecy of Earthtopia. That sounds all amazing. So first, Debbra, can you please share a little bit about your background and how you became the voice of Akashic Records?
Yeah, it's kind of a long story, but I'll condense it for you. I did tell that in my book. So if they get akashaunleashed.com, they'll hear that story. I had this horse who had been injured when she was shipped to me when I was living in Brooklyn, New York. First of all, a horse in Brooklyn is a little incongruent anyway, but it had a lot of complications. Through trying to help her, I ended up taking an animal communication course. And that opened up my latent psychic gift that all of a sudden I remembered, yeah, when I was 4, I was having conversations with Jesus. But, that had been long gone. And so it started coming back. And as I explored it and tried different ways of connecting, I discovered the Akashic Records. And it was like heaven opened up, the angels sang, "Welcome home, baby." It was the most magical experience. And it's just continued to be so ever since. And now I'm just on fire to share it with people because it's like, this is so juicy and wonderful, magical, life-changing. Everybody needs this.
Yeah. And many of my viewers, I'm sure, do not know what the Akashic Records are. Can you share what they are?
Yeah, well, I think most people know what a database is. So it's essentially an etheric database. So when you were created as a soul in the very, very beginning, eons ago, you got your own legion of angels and guides to manage your Akashic Record archive. So in that archive, they have stored everything about you every single lifetime, all the thoughts, all the choices, all the karma, everything. It's there and you can access it. So think about that, this vast. I mean, when I first saw it, because I do a visual when I go into the records, to me, it looked like the New York Public Library on steroids. It was massive. And since then, it's expanded into everything. I mean, sometimes I go in and I'm in a field of green and trees and animals. So it's like you go there and you connect with your angels and guides and you get information. So through the years, they've been feeding me little bits and pieces of memories from past lives. And it's always something I needed at that moment to help me with my next level of growth. So it's like, you just don't know what you're going to get, but it's always for your best interests.
And so when you go in there, do you have questions set up before you go in, or you just go in there with an open mind?
It really depends. If it's for a client and they've got specific questions, then I will ask those questions for them. I also encourage, have an open mind just to accept whatever they want to share with you, because usually that's way far better than you could have ever asked for. So for myself, most of the time I just go, here I am. What do you want to share today? And on Friday, I channel a message every Saturday for my YouTube channel. I got this most amazing message about the alignment of the planets and how they were first created. It was kind of okay, why are you telling me this? It's a bit mind-blowing about how God, creator, turned these rocks into planets by embodying them with what we thought of as the Titans from mythology. So they were selected to be the soul of a rock And then the angels and guides worked with them to terraform and create the planets, perfectly aligning them. And it's like, okay, so where are we going from here? And that segued into this whole conversation about how each of us has a different reality, and that is right for us. So when we judge other people or consider them wrong, we're getting out of alignment, off of our path, and it's not really the best choice for us, which of course is a huge thing that we're going through right now. So it's kind of complicated. You have to listen to the message, but it was mind-blowing, and very often it is.
So you bring up a very good point. Everything is through perception, right? And so what you're saying is that kind of like judgment is one of the worst things we can really do in our lives.
It is, because Creator says that you, Jacqueline, I, Deborah, every soul is perfect, magnificent, brilliant, and resplendent right now, no matter what we personally think about that person.
Right.
Creator says they're perfect. So if we can shift our reality to believe that, accept that, embody that, imagine what that would do to interpersonal relations, global relations. We will abolish hate, bigotry, corruption. And that's the prophecy of Earthtopia that we're moving towards.
And I truly believe that, because I do believe that no matter where we are feeling stuck in our lives, we have to shift our perception, which is our beliefs and everything, because we attract from our beliefs.
Yeah.
And if we can change that at each family level, not going big, but small, and focus on each family, each member of the family, without judgment, without condescending or criticism, and accept them, that would just change so much in the world right now.
Yeah. And it begins with you.
Yeah.
For me, part of the journey was I had really crappy self-esteem all of my life. And when I started working in the records and I'm getting all these amazing messages to share with other people, it slowly sank into me. Oh, that means you too. That means you are amazing, brilliant, magnificent, and resplendent. And it was like, my heart chakra just opened up so big, and there was so much love for others because I suddenly understood what it meant to love yourself. I never knew what that meant.
Yeah. And it is true, when we start loving ourselves, even though we've been taught that that's selfish, doing things for ourselves has been selfish. When we start really loving ourselves at that level, it breaks open the heart and we're actually able to give more.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's really beautiful. So you mentioned guides and angels. Some people may not understand that we all have them and that they came with us. What do you say to people who aren't quite ready to believe that?
Well, you don't have to believe it. It's my reality. It's what I teach. And it makes life so much sweeter and more magical,
Mm,
because if you open up and you pay attention to the signals from your guides and angels, they will help you so much with whatever challenges that you have. And it also becomes a little bit like a treasure hunt. So here you are going about your day, and then bam, there's a little breadcrumb from your guides, and maybe it's angel numbers that catch your attention, or maybe it's some experience out of the ordinary, something that catches your attention and opens up your intuition. So you suddenly get this thought that came from not you, from somewhere else. And then you think about that. Oh, what am I supposed to do with that? And act upon it. Everything starts getting easier because now you're in the flow.
yeah.
There's not resistance. You're flowing along your soul journey on your path, more in alignment with your soul. So if you think about it, it's like driving a car. When you drive a car, you're just making these tiny little corrections to stay on path, right? But when we're in our ego and not in our intuition, connected with our guides and angels, are making all these egoic decisions that can really, like, whoa, we just went right off that path. And then life gets hard. So when you're aligned with your soul and you're following that guidance, it's smooth, it's easy, and it's just teeny tiny little course corrections.
Mhm. What would you say to somebody who's new to trusting their intuition? Because I even have some clients, they're not ready to accept that we ourselves are powerful and that we can trust our inner guidance. What's your suggestion to them?
Well, you start with baby steps. You also keep a journal. Whenever you make a connection, you connect the dots to, oh, I now realize I was following my intuition, or I was following the breadcrumbs. Write it down. Because then when you get in those days where you question everything, you can go look at that journal and you can prove to yourself, I've done this before. I can do this. And it's being kind to yourself, taking those baby steps, having the desire to do so also, reaching out and connecting. You have this inner circle of angels and guides who are around you, literally around you, energetically, all the time. So when you are stumbling and you need someone to hold on to, you just reach out. They've got you. They're holding your elbows. They're, all around to support you. And just get quiet. Listen for that small voice. When you make it your intention to connect with your guides and angels, whatever comes through, trust it. Because what happens is they say, oh no, I made that up. It was my ego. But no, the difference is when it was your intention to connect, you are connecting. Trust it, believe it. So what if you end up being wrong? Try it anyway and see what happens. Because I'm telling you, most of the time, those things really are your guides and angels. And if you will pay attention, take action based upon what your intuition is telling you about that, you will see pretty soon that they were right. And this is the smooth, least resistant path for you. And then more marvels come.
It's true. Once you start trusting and you understand when you're in the flow, when you're getting that download and you take action on it, wow, miracles and magic can happen.
Yeah. And now my new book that's coming out, the 21-day meditation challenge, hearing your angels and guides. I didn't know it because this was all a channeled book. When it came through, it was an assignment that I was given by Archangel Metatron, who's the overseer of the Akashic Records. So I'm just doing this exercise. When it was done, it was like, oh, I never saw that one coming. I've been wanting to teach people how to channel and connect with their angels and guides, and I couldn't figure out how to teach it because it's not an easy thing to teach. It
Yeah.
was right there in that 21-day challenge.
Wow.
So I have a beta group who've gone through the 21 days already. And what happened during that was all these people who said, I don't get anything. I'm just sitting here quietly for 15 minutes meditating. I get nothing. And suddenly that started shifting over time with patience, commitment, and dedication. These people are getting the most amazing messages. And beyond that, their healing layers of things are peeling away. They're becoming aware and they're able to deal with and release. I didn't know any of that was going to happen. This was just me being the messenger and sharing what I got. So I'm super excited to get this book finished and get it out there for the world because it will help people to connect with their own team.
Yeah. Yeah. So a couple questions. How many, when you say team, is there an average number that people have, or are there certain angels and certain guides that come with us?
Well, your inner circle is 5 or 6 usually. And then you've got your team in the records, which is 5th dimensional. So that is called Legion. I don't know what that number means. For somebody who asked me this question during a channeled session, it was like, might be 20,000. And they were like, 20,000. Yeah, it could very well be, because guess what? Managing you is a big job, a lot of working pieces, and it takes a huge team. Because, you think about if you're archiving you for maybe thousands of lifetimes, how vast that would be. So there's managing all of the stuff that's there, plus all the new stuff that's coming in. Plus, your angels and guides are working with you all the time to help move you into alignment with synchronicities that they've set up with other people's angels and guides to make you cross paths with people or to have certain experiences. And it's not that you're a puppet. They're just setting things up so that you can choose and flow into it. But guess what? They've got this all set up. Excuse me a moment, my nose is drippy. They have these synchronicities all set up. You're moving towards it, and then either you or somebody else involved in that sequence makes a different decision that they didn't anticipate. Oh boy, now they all got to scramble and rearrange and get everything going. So think about how much that would take to do. So Legion is the word they've given me to describe it, but it's thousands. And if you need extra help with a project, you can call upon special assignment angels to come in and help you. Because you are the creator of your reality. You have that kind of power. You've been given that by your creator. It's massive.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I always, when I step back and like when something magical happens, right? The right person was put in front of you, the right step, the right door opened up. That's not a coincidence.
No.
And sometimes I sit back and I'm like, wow, imagine all the work it took for them to put that person in front of you, then that person in front of you, then that person, for you to be at the right store to meet this person. We were just away for the weekend. We live in Connecticut and we went to Massachusetts. And my father-in-law, he meets people that he knows everywhere. Here we are in Gloucester, Massachusetts. My husband and his father go into a liquor store and they run into the exact person who used to live on the street where my father-in-law was born and grew up and knew. I'm like, that's not a coincidence. You know,
No.
the effort it took to put all that timing. So yeah, I totally get it. And we really are the ones who block the flow by making it harder, by
Yeah.
making rash decisions or jumping to conclusions, right? It could be really so easy, but we get in the way.
Yeah. And that message I told you about that I posted Saturday, part of that, they said that your life is a game. Play it with the attitude of it's a game. And then they showed me this visual of us on a board, a Candyland board, playing our own Candyland game, rolling the dice, skipping ahead, tumbling, having a ball. And if we're each playing with this attitude of fun and excitement, our own Candyland game, then our life will expand in the most marvelous ways.
Wow, that's perfect. I hadn't even heard of that before.
I
And
mean, brand new.
sometimes we do get too serious, right? And then we
Yeah.
stop the flow. We stop it. We energetically like solidify it. But if we play like we play with so many other things, it brings that back in, that flow.
Yeah. And you know, the entire universe is built with this impish, joyful, playful energy anyway, plus abundance. So, like, part of that vision they gave me was when the planets were being created, they were dancing and skipping around. And then I saw the mushrooms from Fantasia, you know, the little dancing mushrooms. And it was like that energy. If we could remember that and take that energy into our days, have that attitude with whatever it is we're doing, it changes everything. It shifts your energy so you attract more of the magic and the marvel that you are seeking to make your life just this joyous ride.
Yeah. And the more I learn about feminine energy and feminine flow, that's kind of what it's about. It's about slowing down, getting in the flow, and not putting so much pressure on it. The masculine is always like, do, do, do. You got to achieve, achieve, achieve.
Mhm.
And the feminine is just so much lighter and fun. And things really do open up when you bring in that lightness to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like if you were walking through a hall of doors. You push on the door. If it doesn't open, it's not your door. You keep going until you find the one that just lightly opens and welcomes you in. And so for everything, it's like that. You make the choice that feels the most joyful, the easiest, that you can flow. It's when you meet resistance that that's a clue that you're out of alignment somewhere. So then you look around, what is that resistance? What am I stuck on? How can I do something differently to get past that and stay in the flow?
Yeah, that's beautiful. So you mentioned your clients were having all kinds of results and healing. What were their experiences? And can you share a little bit of like where they were before they started and the results they had, the kind of healing that they've had?
Well, some of them, when they started, had the mantra of "I get nothing when I meditate," you know, and that was a belief that they had put there because they got frustrated and they gave up too quickly. So through this process that Metatron designed, there are sometimes you're going to show up and you're going to get nothing. But the important thing is you made the commitment, you showed up. And by doing that over and over, you are toning that muscle, that channeling connection muscle. It needs practice like any other muscle. So as you do that, you commit, you show up, you start getting little bits and pieces. And in the beginning, maybe it's just a color, you know, and some people never saw anything, they heard things. So it will be different for everyone. And that's okay. What you get is perfect. You accept it, you write it down, and you keep moving forward. So like I got one myself that was astonishing. I had this memory when I was 5 years old that my brother was beating up on me because of a paper hat. He had me pinned to the floor and he was strangling me. And there I was lying there knowing I was going to die because I couldn't breathe. My parents are sitting on the sofa and some other relatives watching us and cheering us on. Crazy, insanity, right? They didn't know that I was in distress, of course. But at 5 years old, I just saw that. And in that moment, I knew they can't be my parents. I have to parent myself. That part of the memory I had totally lost. It came back to me in that moment. And it explains so much about why I've always been so independent, doing things my own way and not relying on other people. You know, I'd had the memory of my brother and I fighting, but that realization hadn't been there. It was gone because I was just too young to comprehend it. So things like that will come back to you. For other people, it was like, you know, they're dealing with a lot of family trauma or, you know, interpersonal dynamics, things like that. And they got such insights about resistance and flow. Okay, so I can shift a little bit here, and then that person will shift, because when you change your energy, those around you have to change. They can't stay the same. They either leave or they shift.
Yeah.
So it's all about you. Everything is all about you.
We don't want to believe that though. But I totally get it. I've been there, and it's not where it's when you understand that we are 100% responsible for whatever happens in our life, the good and the bad, then I'm on board. That means I can have full power in what I get to achieve and manifest and create.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the thing about that I want to point out in case anybody doesn't understand is that that's not about blaming you. That's
Right.
just acknowledging the simple truth that you bring karmic energy with you into this lifetime. I brought a lot of victim energy into this lifetime. So I had a rough early life. And that was just simply because I attracted it, because I had all that victim energy. So part of this life was learning to overcome that, to stand up, to take responsibility, to be the sovereign soul, to make the choices. And then the victim energy went away.
Right.
And that's for all of us.
Yeah, there really is no blaming. It's honoring who we are in the stories and the life, the experiences that we've had. There's no judgment. There's no blame. It's just honoring who we are and how can we shift to achieve and create the life we desire. Yeah. So what do you see as the next evolution of humanity?
This is the fun one. This is the Earthtopia prophecy. So Earth herself is right now in a rebirthing process. She is shifting into fourth dimensional density, frequency, energy, all of those things. And when she shifts, we can't stay the same and still be here. We have to shift. So energetically, we are all, whether we are aware of it or not, are shifting. And like we were talking earlier, these weird things are happening where you might kind of feel an out of body experience or brain fog or unusual things for you. And that's part of your body is shifting to catch up with your soul, which is shifting to go along with Gaia's shifting. So it's the next evolution of humanity is how they've described it to me. That's taking us into that golden age where we won't have bigotry, hate, corruption, greed, all of that. We're going to see each other as sovereign souls. There will be love and respect. And that won't be forever, because that will be some period of time we'll experience that, and then it'll be time for the next evolution. But the interesting thing about it is that this virus that's changed our lives so dramatically is part of that prophecy. The virus is facilitating a great many souls leaving right now because they chose not to be here during this evolutionary process, because it's going to be some work. It's not going to be all fun and games. I mean, you know, we'll do our best, of course, but it's going to take struggle. Metatron describes it as a psychic battle against the darkness, so that the light workers of the world come together, lifting us all up until we reach critical mass, is the way it was described to me, of light workers all moving towards Earthtopia. And when we hit that critical mass, it will be like a sonic boom across the land that will shift us then, that next last step into Earthtopia.
Wow. Do you have any, or have you been told how long this will take? Because this is a very challenging time.
It is. Yeah, I keep asking about that. In fact, I asked about it again last night. And what I was told is that by 2023, the virus part of the shift should be pretty much done. We should be getting back into a semblance of normal, although it will be a new normal. It won't be the same. We will have shifted. So new normal about 2023. There are things that can impact that timeline, but right now that's kind of what we're focused on. So we've still got a ways to go. As far as when we shift finally into Earthtopia, I get it could be 10 years, it could be 20 years. It depends on the people stepping up and getting involved, facilitating. So it's all up to us. That's why it's so important to share these messages, because the sooner people get that and they get on board, let's get on the peace train. They've said that too. We get on that peace train and we move towards Earthtopia, we'll get there faster. It is coming, but the date is fungible depending on us.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Any last message for people who are watching?
Yeah, I just want them to give themselves a big hug and know that their angels and their guides are doing that all the time. They're right there. They love you so very much. And if you will pause and allow yourself to feel that, to start to understand how amazing, incredible you are, because if Creator says those things about you, how perfect, magnificent, brilliant, resplendent you are, who are you to argue? Just accept it, baby. You are amazing. And then go be amazing. Go live your amazing life. Don't hold back. This is the time to be more fully you than you've ever been before. Be that sovereign soul.
Love it. So again, how can people get in touch with you? What's the best
They
way?
can go to my website to read more about the Akashic Records. That's akashaunleashed.com. And they can find me on YouTube, because I've got a ton of YouTube videos, because more and more information keeps flowing through. So that's Debbra Lupien, voice of the Akashic Records.
Great. Thank you again, Deborah, for being here for these amazing messages. And thank you everybody for watching. Again, this is Jacqueline Kane from Soul Science. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Bye.